Ladies and gentlemen, when you think about marriage, think about the immense responsibility that it entails. It's a union not just of bodies, but of lives, futures, and destinies. It is the foundation upon which families are built, and in turn, societies are shaped. But too many people today enter marriage without understanding the gravity of what they're committing to. So let me be clear, there are certain individuals you should never marry, individuals who, no matter how charming or compelling they may seem at first, will ultimately bring ruin to your life. Character is the foundation upon which any lasting relationship is built. When you decide to marry someone, you're not just committing to a relationship with that person, you're intertwining your future, your life, and your well-being with theirs. This commitment demands a solid, reliable, and trustworthy partner, someone whose character can withstand the trials of life, because inevitably trials will come. If the person you choose as a partner is dishonest, manipulative, or self-serving, your marriage will be unstable from the start. Over time, these flaws will corrode trust, respect, and loyalty, which are the cornerstones of a strong relationship. Character is what defines a person's true nature. It's easy to be deceived by charm, superficial kindness, or the allure of temporary satisfaction. But true character is shown in the way a person reacts when no one is watching, when they're faced with adversity, or when they encounter situations that challenge their integrity. It's easy to be generous when everything is going well, but how does your partner behave when faced with hardship? Do they stand firm in their principles, or do they abandon them when it becomes inconvenient? Someone with strong character takes responsibility for their actions. They do not shy away from difficult conversations or blame others for their mistakes. They own up to their faults and shortcomings and work to improve. In contrast, a person lacking in character may avoid accountability, refuse to acknowledge their wrongdoings, and manipulate situations to make themselves look better at the expense of others. This kind of behavior erodes trust and creates an environment where resentment thrives. You can never build a solid future with someone who refuses to be honest, even about the small things. Equally important is the way someone treats others, especially those who cannot offer them anything in return. A person of character shows respect, empathy, and kindness to everyone, not just those in positions of power or influence. They are generous with their time, their effort, and their resources, not for personal gain, but out of genuine goodwill. The way a person interacts with others, especially in difficult circumstances, can reveal much about their true nature. A partner who exhibits kindness, humility, and integrity towards everyone, not just you, is someone who is grounded in values that will serve your relationship well. In relationships, you will encounter moments of great tension, moments when feelings are hurt, or when challenges seem insurmountable. It is in these moments that a person's character will be revealed. Will they resort to manipulative tactics, blame shifting, or deceit to avoid the discomfort of these conversations? Or will they face the difficulty head-on, seeking understanding, resolution, and growth? When character is present, there is a sense of steadiness and reliability that allows the relationship to endure these challenges. Character also provides stability. A partner with strong character is consistent in their behavior, values, and actions. There is no guessing, no uncertainty about where they stand. Their principles are not negotiable. They are grounded in something deeper than momentary desires or convenience. This creates a sense of safety and security in the relationship, which is vital for long-term commitment. Character defines the depth and integrity of a relationship. Without it, even the most passionate and exciting connection will crumble. When you marry someone with strong character, you are not just marrying a person, but a solid foundation upon which you can build your life together. Unrealistic expectations in a relationship can set the stage for disappointment, frustration, and ultimately failure. It's natural to have desires and hopes when entering a partnership, but expecting your partner to fulfill every need or to be a perfect match for your every ideal will lead to disillusionment. No one, no matter how compatible they seem at first, can provide constant happiness, emotional support, or satisfaction without limits. The human experience is complex, and a successful partnership requires a balance between individual needs and shared responsibilities. When you marry someone, you are choosing to share your life with them, your highs and lows, your challenges and successes. However, expecting them to act as a constant source of happiness or to meet every single emotional need you have is a recipe for dissatisfaction. No one can be the sole source of fulfillment in every area of life. It is essential to understand that your partner is not responsible for making you happy. That responsibility lies with you. If you enter into a marriage expecting your partner to always be there to make you feel better, or to solve your personal issues, you will place an enormous weight on their shoulders, one that is both unfair and unsustainable. Expecting perfection from a partner is an unrealistic expectation that will inevitably result in disappointment. The idealization of a person as flawless or without fault sets an impossible standard. Every person has weaknesses, flaws, and struggles. It's important to understand that while a partner can strive to be supportive, loving, and compassionate, they will also have their own personal battles, emotional needs, and shortcomings. It is these imperfections that make them human and contribute to the dynamic nature of the relationship. Expecting them to be flawless sets a dangerous precedent where failure to meet this ideal leads to resentment or self-doubt. Expectations also play a significant role in the practical aspects of a marriage. One partner may have unrealistic expectations about the division of labor, financial responsibilities, or future goals. These expectations can cause resentment if they are not communicated clearly or if one partner feels as though they are shouldering an unfair burden. It is vital to approach these practical aspects of marriage with a sense of cooperation and understanding. Instead of expecting your partner to handle everything perfectly or independently, acknowledge that both of you need to contribute, adapt, and support one another in equal measure. When unrealistic expectations govern the relationship, frustration grows as one person feels the constant pressure to meet unspoken or impossible standards. Unrealistic expectations can warp how we view conflict. No marriage is free of challenges, disagreements, misunderstandings, and differing values will arise. However, when you expect the relationship to always be smooth or conflict-free, you may avoid addressing issues altogether, thinking that doing so will cause irreparable damage. This avoidance will only allow problems to fester and grow. A healthy relationship requires confrontation, discussion, and resolution. If the expectation is that everything should always be harmonious, it becomes difficult to address the root causes of issues, and in turn, the relationship suffers. It is critical to enter into a relationship with a sense of realism. Understand that your partner is human, that they have their own desires, struggles, and limitations. Instead of expecting them to meet every need, work together to create a partnership that is balanced, grounded in mutual respect and understanding. By doing so, you will build a marriage that is sustainable, fulfilling, and resilient in the face of challenges. Realistic expectations are the foundation for a relationship that grows and thrives over time. Emotional immaturity in a partner can be one of the most destabilizing forces in a relationship. At its core, emotional immaturity is the inability to manage and express emotions in a healthy, responsible way. It manifests in various forms, whether through avoidance of difficult conversations, explosive outbursts, or an inability to take responsibility for one's feelings. While everyone has moments of emotional fragility, a person who is consistently emotionally immature can undermine the foundation of a marriage and create an environment filled with instability and confusion. One of the most glaring signs of emotional immaturity is the avoidance of conflict or difficult emotions. Instead of facing problems head-on, an emotionally immature person may shut down, withdraw, or deflect responsibility. They may become passive-aggressive or give you the silent treatment when disagreements arise, making it impossible to resolve issues effectively. This avoidance does not allow for growth or understanding between partners. Healthy relationships require open communication, even when it's uncomfortable, because it's through confronting challenges that couples grow stronger. A person who is emotionally immature, however, will often shy away from these necessary conversations, preferring to let problems linger rather than addressing them directly. Equally problematic is emotional outbursts or disproportionate reactions to minor stressors. An emotionally immature person may have difficulty regulating their emotions, leading to temper tantrums, anger, or emotional chaos in situations where a more balanced response is required. They might overreact to small issues, allowing their feelings to spiral out of control. This can be both bewildering and exhausting for their partner, who may struggle to make sense of the emotional turbulence. In a relationship, it's important to have someone who can remain calm and level-headed in stressful situations, someone who can manage their emotions and not let them dictate behavior. Emotional immaturity often leads to volatility, which makes it difficult to maintain a sense of security or trust. Another sign of emotional immaturity is the refusal to take responsibility for one's feelings or actions. Instead of acknowledging their role in a situation, an emotionally immature person may blame others or external circumstances for how they feel. This lack of accountability undermines the foundation of mutual respect in a relationship. In marriage, both partners need to own their emotions and actions, even when it's difficult. When one partner constantly deflects responsibility, it becomes impossible to resolve conflicts in a healthy way. Without accountability, the relationship becomes a one-sided affair, where one partner bears the burden of emotional labor while the other remains unresponsive or self-absorbed. A lack of empathy or an inability to understand the emotional needs of others. A partner who is emotionally immature may struggle to see things from your perspective, focusing solely on their own feelings or desires. This can lead to a pattern of selfishness, where the emotional needs of one partner are consistently ignored or invalidated. In a healthy relationship, both partners must be able to empathize with one another, offering support and understanding when necessary. When one partner is emotionally immature, they may be unable to give this support, leaving their spouse feeling neglected or isolated. A person who refuses to confront their own emotional issues will struggle to evolve or improve within the relationship. Self-awareness and emotional maturity are essential for navigating the complexities of life, and without these qualities, an individual is likely to remain stuck in unhealthy patterns of behavior. In a marriage, growth is essential not only as individuals but as a couple. When one partner is emotionally immature, they may resist growth, fearing vulnerability or change, which ultimately hinders the progress of the relationship. A relationship built with someone who lacks emotional maturity is one where you are constantly navigating a sea of instability and confusion. The emotional highs and lows become exhausting, and the lack of emotional depth creates an environment where it's difficult to build trust or security. Without emotional maturity, a person is unable to handle the complexities of a marriage, and the relationship is at risk of being overrun by unresolved issues, unspoken resentment, and persistent frustration. Emotional maturity is the key to resilience and stability in a marriage. Without it, even the strongest foundations will eventually crack under pressure. A lack of responsibility in a partner is one of the most destructive forces in any relationship. Responsibility is foundational to the health and stability of a partnership. When one partner fails to take responsibility for their actions, decisions, or even their own emotions, it creates an imbalance that eventually undermines trust, respect, and mutual cooperation. Relationships are built on the premise that both individuals contribute equally, not just in terms of tasks or duties, but in terms of accountability for their own actions, words, and choices. Without responsibility, the marriage becomes a one-sided effort, where one partner carries the burden of the relationship while the other remains passive or avoids accountability. A partner who consistently refuses to take responsibility for their actions or mistakes erodes the trust that binds a relationship. Trust is only possible when both people can depend on one another to own up to their behavior. When someone repeatedly avoids responsibility, it sends the message that they cannot be relied upon, that their actions don't have consequences, and that their partner will always have to pick up the slack. Over time, this creates resentment. You cannot build a strong, healthy relationship with someone who refuses to own their mistakes, because without this fundamental trait, there is no foundation for honest communication or growth. It creates an environment of confusion and frustration. When one partner is unwilling to take responsibility for their role in conflicts, disagreements, or even day-to-day tasks, the other is left to deal with the consequences. This could manifest in various forms, whether it's financial irresponsibility, failing to fulfill commitments, or neglecting emotional needs. Over time, the responsible partner becomes overwhelmed with the weight of constantly having to manage the relationship's challenges alone. The partnership becomes less about teamwork and more about one person doing all the work. This imbalance creates frustration and dissatisfaction as the responsible partner begins to feel unappreciated and overburdened. Another critical aspect of responsibility is how it affects problem solving in the relationship. A person who refuses to take responsibility for their actions will likely deflect blame, avoid facing difficult issues, and refuse to engage in productive conversations. Instead of confronting problems directly, they may ignore them, dismiss their partner's concerns, or shift the blame onto external factors. This behavior prevents growth and resolution, leaving issues unresolved and emotions unaddressed. In a relationship, the ability to face problems head-on and work through them together is essential. Without responsibility, both partners are left stuck in a cycle of avoidance, never truly solving the issues that arise. A partner often leads to a lack of emotional maturity. When someone refuses to take ownership of their feelings, actions, or choices, they deny themselves the opportunity for self-reflection and growth. They may blame their partner for their own unhappiness, avoid taking responsibility for their own mental or emotional well-being, or refuse to acknowledge their role in creating tension in the relationship. This refusal to self-examine or improve stunts personal growth and prevents them from being able to fully engage in a healthy, supportive partnership. It also leaves the responsible partner feeling emotionally drained and unsupported. A partner who lacks responsibility may also be less committed to the practical aspects of the relationship, such as managing finances, household chores, or raising children. When these essential responsibilities are neglected, the burden falls on the other partner, creating an imbalance that is difficult to maintain in the long run. The relationship becomes one-sided, with one person always taking on the role of the caretaker, the decision-maker, or the provider, while the other avoids these duties. Over time, this can cause deep dissatisfaction as both partners feel the weight of unfulfilled obligations. When responsibility is absent in a relationship, the sense of partnership itself begins to deteriorate. Relationships require cooperation, shared effort, and mutual respect. Without responsibility, there can be no true partnership, just an uneven dynamic where one partner is left to carry the weight of the relationship alone. This imbalance, if not addressed, will lead to feelings of frustration, resentment, and eventually emotional exhaustion. A relationship can only thrive when both individuals are committed to taking responsibility for their actions and contributing to the growth and success of the partnership. Toxic patterns and past behaviors are powerful indicators of potential issues in a relationship, often serving as red flags that should not be ignored. While everyone carries baggage from previous experiences, the way someone handles and learns from their past is crucial in determining their ability to build a healthy, stable relationship. If a person repeatedly engages in destructive behaviors or exhibits harmful patterns in their past relationships, these issues are likely to resurface in any new partnership, often causing pain and distress for both individuals involved. One of the most concerning signs of toxic patterns is when a person has a history of repeatedly engaging in the same negative behaviors. These can include issues like dishonesty, emotional manipulation, controlling tendencies, or avoiding accountability. If someone consistently repeats the same harmful actions in different relationships without acknowledging their role or making an effort to change, it reveals a lack of self-awareness and personal growth. Such patterns often stem from unresolved emotional issues, trauma, or a failure to learn from past mistakes. A person who has not addressed these deep-rooted issues is likely to bring them into a new relationship where they will continue to repeat the cycle. This can create a toxic environment where communication breaks down, trust is shattered, and the emotional well-being of both partners is jeopardized. Emotional manipulation is another common toxic pattern that can be traced back to past behaviors. If someone has been involved in relationships where they have used manipulation, guilt-tripping, or controlling tactics to get their way, they may carry these behaviors into future relationships. These tactics can range from passive-aggressive remarks to more overt forms of coercion, and they often cause the other person to question their reality or feel responsible for the emotional turmoil in the relationship. This manipulation can lead to a power imbalance where one person feels consistently drained, confused, or invalidated. If these behaviors are not addressed and corrected, they can become more entrenched over time, making it even harder to establish a healthy, balanced relationship. A history of dishonesty can also signal potential issues in future relationships. If a person has a past filled with deceit, whether it's lying about minor details or engaging in major betrayals, it's important to recognize that these habits do not disappear overnight. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and a person who has been dishonest in their past will likely struggle to rebuild that trust in a new partnership. They may lie about trivial matters, avoid confronting difficult truths, or conceal their true intentions. Even small lies can compound over time, eroding the integrity of the relationship and creating a sense of distrust that's hard to overcome. Unresolved past trauma can significantly impact how someone behaves in a relationship. If a person has experienced abuse, neglect, or abandonment in previous relationships, they may bring emotional scars into their new partnership. While it's important to recognize that people can heal from past trauma, it's equally important to acknowledge that those who have not processed their pain or sought help may exhibit behaviors rooted in their past experiences. This could manifest as difficulty trusting others, overreacting to perceived threats, or having difficulty expressing emotions in a healthy way. Without confronting and healing from past trauma, these issues can strain a relationship and lead to emotional distance, conflict, and ultimately breakdowns in communication. People who are trapped in toxic patterns may also avoid taking responsibility for their past behavior. Rather than acknowledging their mistakes or learning from previous relationships, they may deflect blame onto their ex-partners, circumstances, or external factors. This refusal to take accountability prevents personal growth and keeps them stuck in the same patterns. Until a person can look honestly at their past, take responsibility for their actions, and commit to changing, they will continue to bring unresolved issues into future relationships. Entering a relationship with someone who has a history of toxic behavior or unresolved patterns from the past requires careful consideration. While it's important to offer empathy and support to a partner who is genuinely working on healing and growing, it's equally important to recognize the signs of harmful behaviors that will only cause harm in the long run. If toxic patterns and past behaviors are not addressed, they will only continue to poison the relationship, leading to a cycle of emotional pain and instability. In relationships, choosing a partner with strong character, emotional maturity, and a sense of responsibility is crucial for creating a foundation that is stable and lasting. Unrealistic expectations can lead to disappointment, as no one person can fulfill all needs or be perfect. Emotional immaturity and a lack of responsibility erode trust and hinder personal growth, making it difficult to navigate challenges together. Toxic patterns from past behavior, if unresolved, can resurface and cause ongoing harm, creating cycles of manipulation, dishonesty, and emotional instability. Building a healthy, enduring partnership requires both individuals to be accountable, emotionally balanced, and committed to growth, recognizing that love is not about perfection, but about mutual respect, understanding, and shared responsibility. Relationships thrive when both partners contribute to their success, acknowledging that while struggles are inevitable, the strength to overcome them comes from a deep sense of trust, maturity, and personal integrity.